Welcome to Real Talk Wrestling. As I adjust the screen real quick, we are here with my buddy Chris Colfer, the ultimate heel in Miami Clutch, here to talk, here to hate on the CEO of AEW. But before we get into that, make sure you follow us everywhere on at Finn's Talk Sports Network. If you're new to the YouTube channel, I see a bunch of you guys filling in here. Please subscribe, hit that alert button, hit that like button. It really helps out the show. You can follow us on Twitter as well at RTW Chris, me at Josh Kimmel OUS, and of course Miami Clutch PE, the biggest hater. He was baiting me. He literally specifically targeted me yesterday, and I fell for it. And I appreciate it. It's pretty
Oh,
good.
you fell for that bait tweet.
No,
Reel it. You can't see me right now, but I'm reeling it in right now.
I knew exactly what you were doing, and I just gave into it because it's fun to talk wrestling amongst our friends, amongst our peers, amongst our, fellow sports entertainment enjoyers. Now, we are going to talk WWE in this show. So if all you AEW haters are here, don't worry. We'll get to Crybaby Cody very soon because I want to talk about his crying segment and his beautiful wife. God, that was awful. But
I got you guys. Don't mind him.
let's talk big business. The CEO of AEW debuted last night, finally. Mercedes Mone, if you missed it. She popped a huge rating, 801,000 viewers. I thought it'd be more. But
You guaranteed more
I did.
on the show. I'm pretty sure you guaranteed more.
That was a year ago.
You didn't say there was any stipulation with it that it had to happen within a year. You guaranteed me 1 million viewers every episode. Now, do you think for the casuals, the people that don't follow and didn't know she was going to be there, now she'll start being announced. So will that bring it up at all, or is it going to stay around that 800,000?
I'm gonna defer that to Clutch because I want to hear his answer first.
Well, first of all, I know you told me it'd be a much bigger deal than this guy. But obviously that didn't happen. But seriously, everybody knows. I'm sorry, and you're gonna hate me when I say this because you correct me when I try to say it. Everybody knows her as Sasha Banks. And who's this Mercedes chick on the screen right now? I think they're gonna start catching on, but at first they're just gonna see some random chick named Mercedes on the show. The people that don't watch the highlight clips in the videos and just be like, "Who's that?" So it might go up a little bit more, but they know her as Sasha Banks, dude, and I think that's the bigger issue here. They should have announced, if anything, they should have announced it beforehand if they wanted to actually pump a rating.
I agree 1,000% with you. She doesn't have the reach that CM Punk had. When I said she'd be bigger, it was obviously a joke. No one's gonna be bigger than a return of CM Punk after he missed 10 years of wrestling. She's only been out of the American spotlight for about 2 years now, so it wasn't that long. And plus, she was never booked as the main woman. She was booked as the person who can work really well. They'll throw her a title, but she'll never defend it correctly or well or successfully. And then she'll just drop it at Charlotte or Becky or one of these women that are awful in the ring, but they have the charisma. Let's be honest. Mercedes can't cut a promo. And we saw it last night. When she has a mic in her hand, I was thinking this is going to be a disaster. It wasn't as bad as Paige. Paige was way worse. So people are saying it's the worst promo in AEW history. No. Go back and watch Paige's first promo. It was god awful.
Wait for that match, by the way.
Stop. It's not going to happen. I don't even know where Paige is. Is she on Rampage? Is she on ROH? What happened?
She's somewhere supporting her brother or something now. He got signed or something like that.
Okay. But I want to admit this in front of everybody. I'm a big enough man to understand that this was mid. It was very underwhelming. I actually found myself getting up, walking around, folding some laundry. That's the key. You know, when Josh says I'm folding laundry during Dynamite, it's bad. It's like, okay, this isn't keeping my attention. I didn't like her entrance music. It's very, very, very bad.
Oh, I have a lot to say about that.
It's very, very bad. The CEO thing is going to catch on. People were chanting it. It's okay. That's cool. CEO, like that's catchy. Don't like it, but it's catchy. Her ring gear, her hair. I'm sorry. I'm not going by appearances. What I'm saying is like by presentation. The whole package of Mercedes Moné. The hair doesn't do it for me. the outfits or whatever. Like I don't care what she wears. Her being a baby face coming into the company, picking a fight with a not just like a mid carder, lowest of the low of the card of the women division, like Willow Nightingale. I like Willow. She's a good worker, but let's be honest, she's a jobber at best, and she's not a top star. Why are we picking fights? Your biggest women's wrestler ever is coming in to pick a fight with the low card, with someone who should be on ROH. Now, she did get injured in that match with Willow. I understand that. But your first opponent, your first feud is going to be with Willow. I don't get it. I don't like it. I didn't like the presentation. I wish they would have done something more. Britt Baker. A returning what's the I can't even remember the girl's name, the British girl from who had the championship when she
Jamie Hayter, big
Jamie
fan.
Hayter, yeah.
Chris Statlander, like someone with relevancy, even Julia Hart, because she is, I think it's going to go there, by the way. But I just didn't understand why it'd be like WWE signing Cody Rhodes. Go, okay, Cody, your first match, Tozawa. What are we doing?
Yeah. So do you think you would have liked it better? Because I thought the same thing. Something about it felt a little underwhelming. But it did feel like they were trying to set it up the same way that they did Punk's, where they don't announce it, but anyone that knows anything knows that they're kind of announcing it, going to Boston, big business, the fonts. And like you said, her only being off TV for 2 years versus Punk's, 7-10 year, whatever it was. And he was like nowhere on TV. It wasn't that he was somewhere else, really. You just weren't seeing him anywhere. We were still getting updates about her. And I think it was with Punk, we thought when Punk left, we thought that was it. He was gone. He was never coming back to wrestling. With Sasha, we kind of knew.
Who?
With Mercedes or Sasha, whoever you want to call her,
Sasha
we knew
Banks.
that she was going to come back. It was just a matter of when and where. So that part of it was a little different to the CM Punk one. I think maybe given that, would you have liked to have seen her come in a different way rather than them setting it up similar to the Punk one? Maybe she just like a surprise show up somewhere at a pay-per-view or a Dynamite, with a big women's feud going on. Do you think maybe that's kind of where it fell off a little bit? Was they were trying to make it as big as Punk, but obviously it was just never going to be able to live up to that?
Clutch, do you want to answer that?
It was a straight up copy and paste of Punk, with the difference that Punk can actually cut a really good promo. And yeah, it was just a copy and paste. They didn't announce it beforehand. They massively hinted at it.
Yeah.
They sold half the seats that they sold for Punk, but that's something else. And before I get into anything, because I don't want to lose my train of thought, that theme song is horrible. It is terrible. It's just them chanting CEO over Imperium's old theme song. If you haven't heard it before, like if you haven't paid attention to it, it literally is Walter's theme song under CEO. And now I can't get it out of my head every time I just think of Walter.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong there. It was awful. So here's the difference, guys. First off, women's wrestling isn't as big as men's wrestling, even though we want to call it a revolution. We want to say this and that. Women's got a Royal Rumble now. Women has an Elimination Chamber. The fact of the matter is, if you look at all promotions combined, you maybe have 4 to 5 true main event women in the whole entire industry, whereas AEW has 10 on their roster. WWE has 10 on their roster. Even TNA has a couple on their roster. Whereas if you take every woman from every single promotion, you have Becky, Charlotte, Bayley, Rhea, Bianca, Mercedes. I know you don't want to put her there, but she is a main eventer.
Oh yeah, she is.
And that's about. I mean, I'm sure I might be missing someone. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not going to put Trinity there. I'm not going to put Liv Morgan there. I'm not going to put anyone. I can't think of anyone else that can actually headline a main event and it work. So it's like you're comparing the Dallas Cowboys to the Riverview Sharks. Like honestly, the high school team who's going to draw a crowd for the people that want to go, but CM Punk is the Dallas Cow. We can't compare the two. It's not fair to her. It's not fair to the business, really. This was a man who was on top of the world, who quit on top of the world in his prime and came back after 10 years because he wanted to become a pro wrestler again. Where Mercedes, she left WWE. She went out to New Japan. She main evented, she wrestled in the Tokyo Dome. She got injured, and we saw her on AEW multiple times. They showed her video package of Willow injuring her. We saw her at Wembley. We saw her at Wembley. Like, we saw her so much, and there was rumors she's coming back here. She's coming back there. She's coming back at Blood and Guts. That's where she was supposed to debut. So therefore, we've just been waiting and waiting. And Chris, I've said this on the show many times. I'm over it. I don't care when she debuts anymore. When she debuts, she'll debut. I'm so sick of this is going to be it. She's showing up in LA. She's showing up here. It gets to the point where I'm like, I don't care. Just show up. But don't show up and ruin an entire show where you have two women main event just because you wanted to get your angle in. When we had an AEW World Championship match, I don't understand how that didn't main event. And we had Willow versus Riho, two of the worst wrestlers on their roster, just because you had to get a Sasha Banks or Mercedes Mone angle. That wasn't it. To me, that wasn't it. That didn't work. The whole thing was a botch. The whole thing.
Yeah. So are you relieved now that the debut is over and we can get past that now?
I mean, it's here's what we're gonna do now. We've had Will Ospreay come in. We've had Okada come in. We've had Mercedes come in. We have all these superstars. MJF's probably going to come back within 6 to 8 months. We don't know when. I truly believe this, and Clutch, you may disagree. They have the most talented roster in the entire world. Now, promo-wise, probably not. Making sure everything's crisp, like right to a T, where you watch a WWE match, everything is perfect. There's hardly any botches. They're so, trained and well thought that everyone knows what's their spot. But if you talk bell to bell work rate, the best wrestlers in the world are in AEW. But it doesn't matter if you have a guy at the top, Tony Khan, who has no idea what he's doing. Someone told me last night, "Oh, you think you're so smart? Have you ever had experience running a promotion?" No, I haven't. And neither has Tony Khan. And this is what we're getting. This is exactly what we're getting. So that point that dude made, 0 cents. Tony Khan has no idea what he's doing. He's buried Miro. He's buried Malachi Black. He's botched Andrade. He's botched CM Punk. He's botched Kota Ibushi. Where'd he go? He's botched so many people. Jay White, where is he?
Poor
yes,
guy.
He had a great.
Poor guy.
But that's what I'm saying. Is he going to botch Okada? How many people is he going to botch? Is he going to botch Mercedes? That's what I'm worried about. He botched Saraya. How many more people is he going to botch?
I think the roster, he's excited. We've talked about him being like a mark, owner and whatever. I think he's just so excited to get all these people that they have the problem now of like the roster is it's way too bloated now. They have a ton of talent. You're right. I do think now it has shifted. I think overall, top to bottom, they have more talent on their roster, but you don't really have the time to showcase them. And that's why a lot of these people keep getting botched, is because you don't have the right time to dedicate to each one of them. There's too many things going on because he is trying to sign so many people and have so many stories going on. And then you sprinkle in the fact that if we keep having all these random matches with people from outside promotions, which was cool for a while, like that was cool for a bit, but like you have a legit roster. There's really no need to do that anymore. To keep bringing in what were we talking about? I heard that one promotion that you were asking me about.
CML,
like, who is
CMLL?
Yeah, I think they're going to be a part of Forbidden Door next year. I think I saw. So, but I feel like that's what that is for. Is that pay-per-view is for that. Put all those matches on that card. Maybe a little bit. Maybe you do it Survivor Series style, where how like the two rosters in WWE, they don't interact, and then like all of a sudden the month before Survivor Series they hate each other and they're going in wearing their shirts. Like maybe you got to do something like that for Forbidden Door, but like we don't need it year round where we're getting these random matches when you've got really good talent sitting in the back doing nothing. And I think that's where a lot of it's getting botched. Too many people.
Clutch, you're a big WWE guy. I've been watching WWE more than ever lately. Do you think that if Tony Khan had the Monday night and Friday night lineup like WWE currently has now, I won't bring in NXT because that shows it's not main roster. Do you think Tony Khan can make it successful if he had 5 hours of Monday and Friday instead of Wednesday and Saturday?
Well, I just don't think he can book for shit. So no, I think he could ruin Seth Rollins. He can ruin. It's mighty hard to ruin like a character like Roman, but he could ruin Roman, in my opinion.
Roman was a ruin like 80% of his career, right? I mean, let's be
I
honest.
mean, current
Yeah,
Roman.
he was.
Current
No,
Roman is. I mean, you would say what you want to say, matches, all that, but he's probably the most recognized non-Hollywood wrestler on the planet.
I would agree. Yeah, I would 1000% agree with that. Roman is the top star. Of course he is. He is. I wouldn't put him in my top 10 wrestlers, but he is a
Of course not.
he's a great addition. When he's on SmackDown, it's must watch. Him and The Rock right now are great. It's you can't beat it. Like I think they did a 40-minute segment to open up SmackDown a couple weeks ago or last week.
And
It's
to be
great.
honest, like some people might not agree. It could have gone longer. I was fine with it. It was a good segment.
Yeah, it was excellent. I saw the whole thing. But that's it. After them, I turned it off because there's nothing else watchable on SmackDown. Nothing else. Bailey won the Royal Rumble and nobody cares.
I wish they would highlight that Damage Control story a little bit more.
Exactly. And that's the thing is they're putting so much effort. And this is another problem with WWE, which is fine. They just, the same thing they did with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn. It was all focused on that. Everything else was kind of like whatever. Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre was getting overshadowed every single week until this week. Finally, they said something about like, hey, Drew's like, hey, you're wrestling me, asshole. You want to focus on me real quick? Because Seth's been so busy working on the Bloodline. But let's get back to AEW real quick. We'll get to WWE seriously because I want to talk about Crybaby Cody because that was one of the most ridiculous things I've seen in wrestling in all month. And I saw Edge with face paint with the raccoon eyes, by the way. Has Edge been a flop, by the way? Clutch?
Yeah. I mean, he was interesting when he first came in. I'm not gonna lie. I watched the whole when he hugged Christian and it was like, go fuck yourself, yeah, all that. But after that, it was like, what happened to him? I don't know what he's doing.
I don't watch Collision, so I'm not seeing all the things he's doing. They announced that there's going to be a last man standing match or I quit match on next week on Dynamite.
Yep.
When did that get set up? Can someone tell me? Was that Collision?
No, it was. I think it was on Dynamite because I saw it. I knew about that
last night.
No, like a week or two ago.
I didn't watch. I mean, I watched, but like that must have been a segment I missed. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was announced. It was announced on Dynamite.
Yeah, like to me as a non like AEW like watcher, like Edge is like as relevant to me as like Matt Hardy.
Ooh, no way. That's that's a little too much.
And I respect the hell out of like what he does, and he's being used worse than he was in WWE, and he wasn't being used good at all at WWE at the end.
I agree. That's why he left, because he wanted his own creativity. He wanted to go be with his best friend, and plus the money. I mean, you guys heard what Okada's getting paid, right? We heard this.
That's what I was talking. Like, I told Chris about this right before the show. I just mentioned one little sentence about Tony Khan. You can't just throw money at shit and expect it to work. That's what he's doing. He's just throwing money at shit. He's outbidding the competition and getting all these guys in that he can't book
correctly. And a lot of it is schedule too. If you hear Will Ospreay, the biggest thing is he wanted to be able to go home, and that's great. Will Ospreay can do that. Okada, he didn't want to, because you know how WWE treats people that can't speak English. They would have buried him, big time buried him. So I'm glad he ended up there. I think Okada is doing the best, like it's the best story in AEW right now. That's my favorite. Okada and the Bucks. Although you probably don't like the Bucks Clutch, which I get. They're bad actors. But I think that's their gimmick. Their gimmick, people don't get it. Their gimmick is we're bad wrestling actors and we overdo things and it's funny. And I love it. I personally find funny in it. I think it's great that they suspended Adam Page from the Elite, not from AEW, just from the Elite. They fired Kenny Omega from the Elite. Like that stuff's funny to me. But a lot of people don't like it. They don't want the funny stuff. But then they go to R-Truth, and R-Truth's talking about, oh, it's Monday. I'm supposed to be at Media Press. That's my Monday. Well, today is Monday, Truth. oh man, like to me that's funny too. But some
Yeah.
people like rag on that. So it all depends on what you like. I think our truth is great, by the way.
You
He's
got to
awesome.
have a little bit of comedy sprinkled in the wrestling show. It makes it feel complete.
And the Bucks are that. People don't want to understand that the Bucks are comic relief. It's just in their way.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Let's shift focus over to the WWE. Clutch, defend the crybaby segment. Defend it, because I can't.
I chalk it up as he's always going to cry, and I like the bit about the mom, right? Because okay, but then when he brought up the wife, and it kind of dragged, the crying dragged more than it should have. I don't mind the crying as long as it's like kept to a standard, to like a little minimum, because it shows that he cares, I guess. So I didn't mind it. The whole interview was cool, except for like, yeah, when it dragged on a little bit too much. Like I it's weird because you told me like it's cringe and it sucked or whatever, and then you see like online, I see people saying, "Oh, that was awesome," and it's Cody's very polarizing on the internet. It's crazy. Not in on the live crowd, but on the internet, he's very fucking polarizing.
Well, because you have the people. I felt this way for a long time, and if you follow the show, you know when he jumped ship to WWE, I was like, "Ah, this guy's really gonna just," because I watched years and years of being the elite of him just trashing WWE, him making fun of WWE, him smashing the throne, him coming up with the whole FTR, fuck the revival, him looking at the Stardust costume, just laughing, like just making fun of it, him being possessed by WWE, and he had to get an exorcism to get the WWE out of him, like all these things he did, and then he led back to WWE, and I was very bitter. I was very upset with Cody Rhodes. But as it went down and I saw what he was doing and all the work he was doing, and this was Vince era, and he was putting on matches 20 minutes on Raw with The Miz. He was putting matches on like what he was doing in AEW. So I'm like, okay, they're going to allow him to do what he wants to do. And this is the Cody Rhodes I want. I didn't want a 3-minute roll up match from Cody Rhodes because at the time, that's what was going on in the WWE. Everything was a roll up or a DQ. So I'm like, okay, cool. I support Cody Rhodes now. I don't support this Cody Rhodes because I want a badass. I am the American Nightmare. I am coming for you, Dwayne. None of this the crybaby stuff is over. We've seen it. That was last year. This year
Like,
he needs to be pissed.
yeah, like I think you're right. I think it was awesome. He slapped the Rock. Like, keep that energy up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he went to. If you're gonna do the crying, fine, do the crying, but leave it for when you win the championship. That Raw after you win the championship, cry all you want, because it's your moment. Finish the story, whatever. But leading up to it, you're saying you're hunting the bloodline. You slap the shit out of the Rock. Like, keep that intensity up. That's what I want. But yeah, it kind of did go off like path off the path that I thought it was gonna go. Hopefully, it gets back onto it though, because I mean, I really want him to finish this story.
Yeah, a lot of people are invested, but that's why it's so polarizing because a lot of people are like, we don't want him to finish the story because they still feel betrayed that he left AEW. He even brought it up in the promo. He didn't bring up AEW because he's not allowed to because they're cowards over there in WWE, but they did say like I went to another place, yada yada yada. Um, Side note, you say copy and paste from Punk. Sasha or Mercedes is copy and pasting what Cody did. Nobody's given her recognition for it, by the way. She bet on herself. They didn't want to pay her. They thought she was over she wasn't as good as Charlotte or whoever. She quit. She did her own thing, and she's gonna make more money than she ever did. And she'll be
Mhm.
back in WWE, which you brought up.
It's
And I
a, it's a
know,
bit. I'm telling you, the just like 2 days before her big
I don't.
debut in AEW, like
Mhm.
she kind of just basically told you this is a pit stop.
Yep. She said she'll be back, and she knows she will. She just has to go make her money first and make her name bigger than what it was when she left. But back to WWE. This leads us to the tag team match. Cody, Seth, Rock, Roman, night one main event. I don't see who can take the pin. I don't know who's going to take the pin. Do we see an F finish where it's like nobody wins? Do we see, because Rock's not getting pinned. Roman can't get pinned before night two.
Huh. Interesting.
I mean,
It's Roman. I already told you it's Roman.
Roman's getting pinned.
They're gonna do the WWE thing. What do they always do? Like going into a pay-per-view, the champion like almost always loses. Oh my goodness! If that happens again tomorrow, then Cody's gonna be the champion. Come on, how many times have they said that exact line? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He
I don't
just
think
got
Roman.
rid.
One thing you like, I think I know because this tag match is probably the most unpredictable thing in WWE because you don't know which way it's going. I'm fairly certain you can't have like Cody or Roman involved in the finish to that match, as in taking the pin or getting the pin. It's going to be Seth or Rock, and I honestly think it's more 50-50 than people think. I think Rock could take the pin if it's done correctly.
I think Cody needs to pin Rock, and Cody needs to pin Roman the next night. I think Cody needs to pin both. Get the bloodline behind him, which would lead to Rock Roman feud eventually. Cody, after this, Cody needs to go away from the bloodline, start his own storyline, whereas Rock, and that's the way to do it. So he knocks out, he beats Rock night 1. Okay, that story's over. He wanted the Rock, he got him. Night 2, pins Roman, boom, bloodline done. He's on to whoever's next. Whoever it may be, LA Knight, Randy Orton, doesn't matter.
You know who I think is next? Like real quick, I think it's Logan.
I wouldn't mind that, but I don't think Logan's dropping the title.
I do. I think
they're putting Kevin Owens in this.
If they add somebody to the match, yes, I think he drops it.
I think they're adding Kevin Owens to the match to get pinned because Logan can't pin Randy Orton. There's no way in hell. I wouldn't believe it. And Randy Orton's too big for that title. I think Kevin Owens is going to get pinned by Logan Paul. But maybe I'm wrong. I think it's going to be a triple threat match at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. We'll see. But I think I could see AJ Styles next for Cody Rhodes. Give him because AJ's the guy who's like, okay, I'm the big bad heel and I'm going to challenge next, but he gets beat a couple times in a row, leading on to the next challenger. I could see AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes. That'd be awesome. Go back to the whole Japan thing, Bullet Club. They were both leaders of the Bullet Club at one point. That'd be pretty cool. But here's the thing with Seth Rollins. I just want to bring this up real quick. Because I see it right here. Coach Michael Vogel says Cody will take the pin after Seth turns. I'm going to put this up here and I'm going to ask you, seriously, make it make sense for me. Because to me, Seth turning heel, where Cody wins and Cody's on SmackDown and Seth is on Raw, what does it matter if he turns on him? They're on different shows at this point. The heel turn would make zero sense. And why would Seth have the motivation to turn heel when he's about to face Drew McIntyre, who is a heel himself? So we're going to get heel versus heel on night 2? No, that doesn't make sense to me, sir. Could it happen? Sure. But I don't think so. What do you think about that, Clutch?
The only possible scenario, and I think this is like a 0.1%, that I could see Seth turning on Cody is if the Bloodline win in night 1 and then it's Bloodline rules night 2 and then maybe Seth gets involved and there's a turn, but I don't see a world where Seth is turning. For what? Honestly, yeah, for what?
Exactly, for what? And
we've already seen the match 3 times.
Well, we've already seen Seth and Drew like 500 times. We just saw them do it like 3 months ago.
This is where I like to argue with people. Like you said, we've seen it a lot of times, but we haven't seen this version of Drew against Seth, if that makes any sense.
No, and that's why I'm accepting
this version of Drew is very entertaining.
Yes, I hope this version of Drew wins. I hope he wins the title.
I think he is.
I think he is too. And that's what I think. I think both main titles are changing. I think Drew wins. I think Cody wins. I think Logan retains. And I think Gunther wins. I think he retains as well. I hope. By the way,
Chris, can I ask real quick, what if you're thinking that Gunther's going to win? Because I heard there was talk that he almost was about to lose it not too long ago. Who do you think then he will lose it to? And then who do you think he should lose it to eventually? Like, who do you want to see them put over whenever he finally does lose?
This is tough, man. I want Big E
with
but
the
I don't
landscape
think,
right now, because I mean, who knows if it's going to happen soon or like
look,
in a while from now.
if I can book a magical fake like anything goes, I want Big E, but that's not going to happen. I don't think Big E wrestles in a long time.
No.
Um, I could possibly see Chad Gable, but again, we've seen that, and you know he had that crushing loss to Sami Zayn in the Gauntlet match, which was awesome, by the way. That was a great Gauntlet match. But Sami Zayn winning the IC title from Gunther, that's just a year ago. We were talking about Sami Zayn winning the world title, the undisputed championship. It just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe an LA Knight, maybe during the draft they draft LA Knight over there to Raw, and then he can do it because you can't just elevate him up to the world title. He needs to pay his dues. But I'm not sure. This is more of a clutch question because he is the WWE expert, and I want to know what he thinks.
I've fantasy booked this so much, and I'm so happy you asked this question. So I fantasy booked it in a way where Gunther's obviously going to win at WrestleMania. You know who else has a match WrestleMania weekend for a title? Ilya Dragunov. I think he's going to lose to Tony D. And Triple H is going to bring back the feeling to Monday after WrestleMania. And he just Gunther brags, he's beat everybody, da da da. And then his boogeyman comes out of nowhere and comes for that title. I think he's the guy to take that title from Gunther. And if not him, I wanted it to be Braun Breaker, but he's on SmackDown. So yeah.
Okay, I'm down for that because Dragunov, that match was great. Chris, I don't know if you've seen that match. That's a match you want to go out and watch if you haven't seen it yet. It was phenomenal. Yes, I'm all for that. If that happens on Monday night after WrestleMania, I'm all for it. I will be one happy guy because that is a great feud. I didn't think about that because I don't watch NXT.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think about NXT anymore. There's no one of value to me of NXT. Maybe just Dragunov, but other than that, don't really care. Unfortunately, is there anyone that we should be looking out for?
Honestly, like I'll say like from the women's roster is really good over there. Roxanne is killing it over there. She just had a really good promo. She just turned heel. Roxanne is good. Lyra is Lyra Valkyria. I don't know if you know her. She's like very underrated in the ring. At least she's like a worker. I like the women from NXT a lot, but the men, I guess Ilya, Mello, and everybody there's mixed opinions on Trick. The character is really good, but the ring work isn't there.
No, I remember I watched that match and I told you I don't like Trick. I'm not a big fan of Trick. He's not that good in the ring, but he can get better. That's why he's in NXT, hopefully to get better.
Yeah,
so
he'll be there for a while, and I think he'll be fine.
Do we ever see Baron Corbin? Do we ever see Baron Corbin back on the main roster? Ever?
He's sort of likable in NXT now. Tag team champions with Braun Breaker. They have a nice little thing going, to be honest. But I don't think it works in the main roster.
It could work. So I'm a big Baron Corbin fan. Chris knows this. I'm a big Baron Corbin guy. I think he's great. I think he's a good heel. I think he's a good mid-card heel. And I want to see him back on the main roster so bad. The thing they did with the whole dog food and Roman Reigns thing, awful. By the way, quick trivia, which you might know this, Clutch. Who's the last person to pin Roman one-on-one in a singles match?
Baron Corbin.
Baron Corbin. Isn't that the funniest thing ever? Yeah. Like the funniest thing ever. They're like, because the reason why I bring this up is because Michael Cole said like, oh, the last person to beat Roman was Seth because of the DQ at the Royal Rumble. Actually, the last person to pin him one-on-one was Baron Corbin, and now he's in NXT. But I will say this. When he was poor, when he was sad Corbin.
Oh, bum-ass Corbin.
That was great.
Yep.
Awesome.
But what they did was overnight, he's happy Corbin. We didn't see the arc. We didn't see anything. No growth. It was just overnight. Nothing. They really dropped the ball there.
It's funny because I remember that so vividly. They had a show in Vegas and he just won.
He was such a sympathetic character. Like I was like, I got to watch some WWE for this guy because I kept seeing all the clips online. I'm like, this is like one of the best things going right now. But I think because that was still... Yeah, that was definitely still Vince era. Vince did what Vince does, which was he likes to tell his story over like 3 weeks. and then that's it. That's all you get. You know what I mean? 3-4 weeks. They had such a great character with him, and they should have had that going for months, where he's just a sympathetic loser, down on his luck. Everything wrong keeps happening to him. Every time things start to look up, something happens. But they just pulled the trigger too quick. And like you said, it was way too fast of just, oh, he hit a jackpot and now he's Happy Corbin and life is great.
Yep.
And so I think people like myself, we just got very uninvested in his character very fast. I wanted to see the struggle. You need to see more of the struggle there.
Yeah, and they ruined Riddick Moss in the process, and it was just a disaster of a character. And that's why I think people turned on him. I think if they bring him in as a good heel mid-carder like Nakamura, he could be useful. But Vince killed him. I think Vince killed that whole gimmick, and Clutch, you could probably agree with this, because Baron Corbin was getting it over on social media, on Twitter, filming videos. He was doing what Vince hates. When other wrestlers like Miro get Miro Day over, Vince buries it because it's not his idea and it's not what he wants. Vince hates the fans. He's always hated us. He's always hated what we want. And he crushed Baron Corbin and many others in the whole years and years of owning that company.
Real quick, do you think now with Triple H running things, the next time someone gets over organically on their own, is he going to let it go and just let it grow on its own?
Clutch, we're seeing this now, right? Clutch,
you've seen it.
We're seeing it right now.
Who are we seeing it with? Again, I had to watch WWE. Yeah! Okay, so him. And they're letting him go then.
He just, it's the first thing Triple H did back in charge was get rid of Max Dupree and just let him go.
Good.
Yeah, he's letting guys and women get over on their own, and he's pushing them. He's not stopping them, although he is over pushing some things. This whole... I'm sorry. The Maxine Dupree thing, they keep, why are we still pushing her out there? Now they're using the whole booing gimmick as like, what's that girl, Johnny Wrestling? What's his wife's? Candice LeRae.
Oh, Candice, yeah.
She's like, yeah, we're not taking that move. Did you hear that, Chris? I know Clutch, you probably watched it. She's not taking that. It looks fake or whatever it was. Pretty much calling out the business, saying that we're all fake. Like that was the most ridiculous thing of all time. And like, nobody likes you in the back. Like, I think this whole gimmick of her being booed and they're trying to make something out of nothing. Because let's be honest, one dude booed her and said she sucks, and all of a sudden everyone went crazy. So now they're going to try to get over as a massive baby face. It's not going to work. I think Triple H gets these ideas that things are going to work and they're not. That's one of them. R-Truth, that's working out. Like, some things hit, some things miss. And I think she's missing. I mean, are you buying this thing, Clutch? This whole Maxine Dupree?
I hate it. I hate the Maxine thing for like what she's doing. I like the fact that they're actually involving Candice in something. That's the only like positive I take from the whole thing. Because Candice was just eating catering and she's actually a decent wrestler. Mm-hmm. So I like it for her because she's actually doing something, showing something to some sort of character. But like, yeah, she could do it with somebody else.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe someone, I don't know. I'm not going to say go put her in a feud with Bianca because she's got nothing going on. I want Bianca to turn heel, by the way. She showed signs of it. I don't care about Bayley. She's the one who created Damage Control. Very Drew McIntyre-like, very like sticking to her guns. I think she could turn heel pretty soon. She needs it. She's stale as hell. She is unwatchable at this point. I'm sure Clutch disagrees with me. He loves Bianca, and so do I. But
I love Bianca. I think we're getting another 3-on-3 women's match at WrestleMania. They already set it up with Naomi. Naomi, Bianca, and I think Jade's gonna wrestle in that match against the rest of Damage Control while Bayley faces Io.
I agree. It's a good pre-show match. We can have Jade, Bianca, and Trinity versus the losers over there. Asuka, Kairi Sane, and who's the other one? Dakota Kai?
Dakota, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. But I don't know. We'll see. WrestleMania is shaping up to be an awesome show, by the way. I'm looking forward to it. Chris, are you going to watch it live? I know it's sometime down the road, but are you going to be watching it live?
More than likely, yeah. It's WrestleMania. It's Triple H's first WrestleMania in Control. I'll give it a watch.
Well, yeah, Control last WrestleMania. It's just Vince was kind of still there.
Yeah, no, this one is it.
It got
This
kind of
This is the real
interrupted.
one.
Like it was his WrestleMania until then. That the merger came like right after WrestleMania, no, like the day
Yeah.
after. So like I think that kind of skewed things, and then obviously Vince was a big part of that.
Yeah.
So this is like his first real WrestleMania by himself,
Yep.
and
I hope it's
it's
a banger.
pretty good. It's a
Yeah.
pretty good like on paper, it's really good.
It's just some things they can't get out of the habit of, like the roll ups, the constant roll ups, the constant
Ugh.
DQ finishes. It
I
people
want to know who decides that. Like, who makes that decision to have so many roll ups and DQs?
Let me ask you this, Chris. In Clutch, you can answer the. I know you watched Big Business last night. Don't act like you didn't. When Eddie Kingston took that pin last night from Okada, did you see? Did okay? If Okada rolled up Eddie Kingston and Eddie Kingston was on his back for 3 seconds, I can't kick out. Or when he took a rainmaker, laid out 1, 2, 3. What makes Eddie Kingston look weaker? The stupid ass weak roll up where he's like, or a legit finishing move where you take 1, 2, 3. What makes you look dumber?
Yeah, a roll up.
Okay, then why does WWE think that protects people? It makes you look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, because then you're not even really getting knocked out before the roll up. Listen, there's like a time and a place for a roll up pin. Every once in a while, I think it's like a good spot for like a heel to sneak in a win or something, or like in a triple threat match or something. Whenever you got too much going on, you're trying to fight both guys. Someone does a finisher, you knock them out real quick, and then you got to be quick. That's the whole point. So you roll it, you go in there, get your roll up, get your win, and get out of there. There's a time and a place for it, but like every single match, no, it's overused. It's the roll up in WWE is the same as blood in a John Moxley match. It just has no meaning. Like it's lost all meaning at this point. You know, there's no point. It's overkill.
Big time. Plus, do you agree with that? Please say you agree.
I agree. I
Okay.
agree. I find it weird how they kind of went away from just normal matches at one point, because even back, like from what I remember, I'm not that old, but from what I remember from like back in the day, like Rock was taking pins on Raw and SmackDown. Stone Cold was taking pins and didn't hurt them.
Yeah.
And they somehow just went away from it and just went with the protect them until the pay-per-view.
Yeah. I mean, when Eddie Kingston took that pin last night, my first thought was, he shouldn't be taking pins, man. He's a champion. But then I'm like, wait, it's Okada, one of the greatest in the world, and he took a legit like rainmaker to the face. That's okay to take a pin. If Randy Orton hits an RKO on somebody, it's okay to take a pin.
Yeah.
If Stone Cold hits a stunner on The Rock on Raw, it's okay to take a pin. I just think the overprotection on these wrestlers, especially in the WWE, makes me kind of bitter. Like when Cody took the pin with Drew McIntyre.
That was meaningful.
That was meaningful because he took a spike from what's his face, Samoa Joe Jr. What's his name again?
Solo.
Solo. Solo.
Samoa Joe Jr.
Samoa Joe Jr.
He wears the trunks, the boxing trunk. It looks cool. I like him, but I just can't think of his name because he doesn't wrestle meaningful matches ever. He's just a a lackey, strong lackey, but he's just a lackey. That was meaningful. That's cool. If you want the heel to take get a win, that's the way to do it. But when you have someone's music played and the dumb baby face goes to the ropes and looks at the Titantron, where is he? And all of a sudden the heel just rolls him up. What is that? It does nothing.
It's the worst. And
it's
like,
so stupid.
Why do they keep falling for that? Why does it matter? That's what I've never understood, even since we were kids. Like the wrestling logic of, oh, somebody else might be coming out. Okay, what does it matter? They're not fighting you. That person that you just turned your back to is fighting you. Could you imagine if they did that in UFC or something? Like they're in the middle of a fight and like some music plays and like this guy that's trying to like knock your head off. I'm going to turn my back to him and let me see what's going on over here real quick. And then you get choked out immediately and you look like, no.
That's wrestling logic though. We see it every
So
single
bad.
week. We get one person, like a segment. If they're in street clothes, they have no superpowers. So like there'll be in a promo, street clothes. I'm gonna beat this guy's ass. Then Jay White will come out or whoever, hit their legs real quick, beat them up, and they're down forever. But in a match, Darby Allin can jump from a 50-foot ladder on the glass, break his back, contusions everywhere. He gets up in 5 minutes and causes Sting
Keeps
to win.
going. Whenever you're not before or after the bell. That's what it is. It's when the bell rings to start till the bell rings when it ends. You have superpowers. Someone can get laid out before a match. They can't compete. Like they're literally going down to the ring to compete. They get hit and they get knocked out. I'm like, but you were about to go get knocked around for like 15 minutes and you got hit like once and you're knocked out cold. Or, same thing after a match too. It's one of my least favorite wrestling logic things.
But that's the roll up, the before and after the bell. Like that's just what we have to live with. All right, that's just what we have to deal with, and it is what it is. But anything else you guys want to cover before we wrap this thing up?
Nope, I think that's everything for me. I think we got it.
I think we got it too, man.
Yeah, I think we're good.
No, Clutch, go ahead and give me one more shot of AEW. Just give me one more thing.
That could be our closing. Give him the closing word here.
I don't want to shoot on AEW. Like I told you this. My beef is with the cokehead running that company. It's not with the rest of them. Like I'm a fan of everybody else. Like I just cannot watch that product because he cannot run a company.
I can respect that because that is how I felt about WWE for the last few years with Vince.
Yeah,
and I mean that very seriously. It was so hard because I'm like, me and Josh will talk about it. I'm like, man, they got such good people. They got the Seth Rollins, they got Roman, they got this person. But man, it's so hard to watch. So I get that for you, being more of a WWE guy trying to watch it, but having a hard time agreeing with the person that's running the show. I totally get that.
Yeah, I don't want Mercedes to fail. I'm a big fan of Mercedes actually, which is hilarious. She's kind of like caught astray because of where she is. And I just find any like little thing to nitpick just to mess with people like Josh. But yeah, basically, I just can't stand that guy, bro. Not Josh, Tony Khan.
Look, I'm fair and just in my assessment. You know this. I said good things when things are good on WWE, and I said things are bad in AEW. And right now, the state of AEW, they had 3 good shows in a row. Dynamites. I don't watch Collision. I don't watch Rampage. The pay-per-view was good. Let's make it a streak. Let's continue this because if you watch Dynamite for the past 3 weeks, everything made sense. Every single match made sense. Even if you didn't agree with the match, Kyle Fletcher versus Ospreay. I didn't like it, but it made sense to the story of getting Ospreay as a huge babyface. Whereas back in the past, where you've probably seen this as well, we see Bryan Danielson versus some Takahashi Nahami from New Japan no one's ever heard of. Why is this match happening? Jericho versus someone's kid. I don't even know his name. Magnus Jr. Like, why is this happening? So everything is finally coming. I don't know if Mercedes is like, look, you're hiring this woman from WWE who was my writer, and she's going to help. Because ever since she's been hired, the shows have been good. So let's just give it a chance. They can get back to where they were. Because before Cody left, they were the best wrestling promotion on the planet. When Cody left, they freaking nosedived into the ground where I stopped watching the product. And that's a fact. Let's see if they can get back.
That's time where Tony fully took over, right? After Cody left, fully took over the writing.
Yes. And that's when it went downhill fast. And that's when it became unwatchable.
Because didn't he also kind of pull back for Kenny and the Bucks and everyone else as the EVPs, whatever? That was just a title on paper. He really pulled the reins back after Cody left. It seemed like at least from the outside looking in.
Yeah. I mean, Cody will never say what happened, and there's probably NDAs involved, but I guarantee what happened was Cody left because he lost his power. And if you watch the Cody Rhodes documentary, he pretty much said it was personal.
Yeah, he alluded to it being a problem with somebody, but he will not name names. It's Tony, bro.
It's Tony. Everyone has a problem with Tony. Mercedes gave, and I will say this, and we're really dipping. Kid needs me. Mercedes said the same thing that CM Punk said, Adam Copeland said, Saraya said. Every single person that comes into that company says the same thing. This is a new start. This is a revolution. I believe in AEW. Let's make history. Us is the best wrestling in the world. Then what happens to every single person? They fall into Rampage.
Poor Jay White. I'm still on it, on the Scissor Bang Club or whatever they're called.
But Jay White,
they're done. That's done, by the way.
That's done, by the way, which I didn't know where it happened. Maybe Collision, but Jay White had a banger with Darby Allin last night.
It happened yesterday on Dynamite.
Okay. When? I must have missed it.
You did.
I walked away a lot last night because last night was super underwhelming.
Josh, I real quick, I know you told me, you said, oh, I know you watched the show, so stop playing. Honestly, I kind of I actually did turn to the Heat game after the Mercedes promo.
I don't blame you. Although there was you missed some good matches. Jay White and Darby Allin was good. The main
Jay
event,
White and Darby Allin, the 6-man tag was good, and the
the
World
6-man tag was, yeah, those were phenomenal matches. I didn't watch Samoa Joe. I didn't watch the Joe match.
Yeah, it was good. Not great, but it was good. It was 3 good matches right in a row, right after Mercedes.
But you gotta understand, and this is no offense to you, Clutch. Clutch wants the stories. Clutch wants the promos. He wants the storytelling. He wants our truth telling jokes. He wants Dominic getting booed. I get it. I'm not trying to. I like it too.
I know. I like to be sports entertained.
And sometimes when you're wrestling overloaded, seriously, when you have 20-minute, 25-minute matches, it could be a lot for people that are mainly WWE watchers. It could be a lot. Like, geez, 2 commercial breaks for 1 match. Like, it could be a lot. They're used to 5-minute matches. It's okay. I was that way too. When
honestly,
I go to WWE,
honestly, sports entertain me during the weekly shows. Give me the good matches during the pay-per-views. I'm good with that.
I agree with that. That's a good method because we want more story. Because guess what? Stories come out of promos. Stories come out of segments. Stories come out of backstage segments. Whereas you want to finish that story, Cody, at the pay-per-view. So I get that. That's a good formula. And WWE's nailing right now. So I get it. All right. That's it for the show. Thank you so much, Clutch, for coming on. It's always been fun. I knew you were going to come as soon as Big Business was announced. I said we're having Clutch on the day after. I didn't tell you yet or ask you. Tell you got to be on the show. No, I didn't ask you yet, but I knew this was going to be a fun show because my girl has returned. The chosen one has returned to wrestling. I'm super excited. I can't wait to put her in my top 10 rankings after her first match because she is that damn good. By the way, real quick, I'm sorry I keep on saying this. Did you see the very last part of the show where the lights went out and people were chanting CEO, CEO, and it was Julia Hart and everyone fucking booed, like lost their mind?
I did.
What the fuck, Tony? God, that was bad. All right, we're out of here. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Kimmel, at Miami Clutch PE, at RTW Chris, of course, at Fins Talk Sports Network. None of this will be possible without Bobby and the Fins Talk Sports Network. I love you guys so much. You guys are a great, great community, great network. Until next week, guys, we are out. Chris, last words. I'm leaving it to you.